This is the instructional how-to video for the Ron St. Clair trailer. This is going to show the operations of your brand new concession, as well as the shutdown procedure. We're going to start off up front on the passenger side of Vino's. This is the city water fill box for the restroom itself. So you can use your water hose to be able to fill the freshwater tank and use the water pump. Again, non-pressure side, so water tank, water pump here. If you have pressurized water, you can hook up your garden hose to this inlet, bypassing the tank and pump, and provide pressurized water at all times, again, to the restroom itself. When you finish, you can be able to lock up this door so nobody will tamper with this area itself. Again, this box is for the water connection for the restroom only. Exterior light here in front of the window, exterior light behind the window. Flip up counter, pressing upward allows that to flip to an upright position. Pressing back upward again allows it to go to a downward position. I've got your trailer plug plugged into my shore power itself. I've got a live propane tank hooked up to your system. Both of your tanks are empty. Go ahead and go on board for your trailer. Again, this tank is turned off. The tank's empty. Always have the tank strapped in place, pin and cage, just for safe transport. So before I ever turned the gas on to the system itself, first thing I did is I made sure that all of the equipment that's in here is in the off position. I turned the exhaust fan on. At that point, then I turn on the valve for the tank itself, which you have the same thing here. Turning the gas on to where it's at this shutoff valve. Of course, the shutoff valve is on at this moment, but it would be in the opposite position for it to be off. The most important thing that you do at that point is when you turn the gas valve on, listening through the gas regulator itself to ensure that no gas is coming through. As we have the pallets all lit at this moment, you will hear no gas coming through with the pallets itself. However, if any one of the control knobs was left in the on position, you will hear gas running through this line and you immediately need to shut the system off. Otherwise than that, if you know everything's in the off position and you still hear gas coming through one of the regulators, it's very important to cut off and have a gas plumber come out and inspect the piping, because the piping does run down through the floor and hugs the main frame of the trailer. And road debris such as bricks, blocks, rocks, wood even, or a tire off a vehicle could damage, if not break, the pipe. So again, the most important thing you do is listening for the line to charge only, nothing more than a ch, and that's it. If you hear continuous gas flow coming through at the initial startup, immediately shut this off and contact your local gas company for proper inspection. Going to start off with the 4-well steam table, and you're going to be able to see, you can see the glow from the pilot lights itself. All of these control knobs are in the off position. You never need to turn those on until you have those pilot lights lit. Now, as far as your steam table pans, you'll need to have one pan for water. Do not put water directly in here, you will damage the unit. So you'll have one deep pan for water, and then your food pans, however many you want, and the sizes is determined by you yourself, to be able to provide heat to your food product. We'll go ahead and go over the deep fryer. As you will see, the thermal pile is lit and active and good to go. This is the on position, meaning the red dot. And we can turn that burner on and you can see fire. Now what I always do is light everything and then go back over how to light it, because it takes two hands for lighting the deep fryer itself. So I always start with, again, this is in the off position. I do that to make sure this thermostat connects with this gas valve. At that point, you'll rotate to where the L meets the red dot and allows you to push in. You have to push in and hold here and administer your fire to the thermopile. Once that thermopile is burning, you will continue to hold this pilot button for generally 10 to 20 seconds. Once you can slowly release this pilot button and keep a constant flame on your thermopile, then go over here and rotate to the on position. And at that point, whenever desired, then you can turn your thermostat to the desired temperature and be able to do your cooking. In the fridge behind us, there's going to be paperwork and there's going to be a threaded tube that will screw into here and allow you to open that vat to drain the contents that are in the deep fryer before travel itself. Never transport any oil in this vat while driving down the road. While we're down here, I'm going to go ahead and show you the oven. It's in the off position. There's no lighter needed to light the oven. It's simply pushing this button and holding here and then pressing the igniter itself, which you can see the pallet light going. So once that pallet does light, same thing with this pallet as the fryer, you got to hold this button for generally about 10 seconds. As long as you can release and have that pallet flame going, at that point you can close this door. It's no longer needed to be opened. For video purposes, I like to go ahead and crank the unit up to about 350. That way the customer can see the burner actively going. There is one rack, 5 different slots to choose from. While the door is open, I do want to notate on lighting the griddle, it's a whole lot easier to go ahead and open the door itself. And I'll explain why here in just a moment. So this is in the off position as well as this is in the off position. As you can see, that pallet light burning back below. So you'll put your lighter underneath. As you can see where I have that door open, it's easier to put your lighter underneath. I'll go back to lighting this pallet. You'll be able to see what I'm referring to. Again, lighting those pallets is very critical to make sure these control knobs are in the off position. If you have that control knob in the on position, you're going to fill that cavity up with a lot of propane, which is very, very dangerous. I would plan on having several of these lighters on hand. Definitely want to clean the griddle surface and season it in to the desired seasoning you want. Cleaning tray, you've got your drip pan that you'll want to monitor daily as well. You've got your burners. I've got these wire tied in place. Do not remove this. Eventually, due to excessive heat, it will break. Simply replace with more baling wire that wraps around the frame to hold these burners in place. Again, same thing for this. These always stay in the off position and you administer your fire to each one of the pallets. Once those pallets are good to go and you can see them burning, then you can rotate the burners as needed. Now these filters up above, depending on how much grease or fatty foods is in the air itself, there's always going to be grease in the air just from foods or a deep fryer. What grease doesn't collect in the filters runs down to the drip tray, goes to the drip cup. Monitor that each day as well. These filters are removable for cleaning purposes, and I highly suggest doing that once a day to make it easier on yourself. If there is a lot of grease, I'm going to go ahead and turn the tank off. And as you're going to see, I'm going to turn both valves off. Not just one or the other. I'm going to go ahead and turn both of them off, so there's no gas going into the trailer whatsoever. At that point, we can turn that exhaust fan off for safety purposes. Again, always need to have the exhaust fan on. So filters, lifting up, they do come out. The other flip side to why you want to have the exhaust fan on is those sensors right there are rated at 500 degrees. If you try to run this trailer and without turning the exhaust fan on, that heat builds up. Everything in that red tank right there will come emitting out of these nozzles and shut your system down for about a week and be a very costly cleanup bill. You do not want that to happen. So again, you want to remove those filters, clean them, hot water, mild soap, mild degreaser, allow adequate time for them to air dry, and then put them back in place. Now, as you see the gap here, you want to close those gaps up as minimal as possible so you don't have grease blow by that gets up into the exhaust fan above. The other thing is, I would set up quarterly visits with the local hood cleaning company to clean the exhaust fan and inspect it as well, just for proper maintenance and safety. We do have your control head located here. If there was a fire that you could not suppress, or the system you wanted to put it, you can pull this pin and manually turn it on, which would then rid everything in that tank itself all over. If you can suppress the fire in any way before this system goes off, by all means do so, because of the costly expense for cleanup itself. Got your sink cover here in place just up above your 3-band sink itself. Got your freshwater tank. Also got, as you can see, the blowout valve for winterization, your tank valve over here for the tank, and then your drain valve for the tank itself. Water pump switch, which we have in the off position because we're running on the city water side for the kitchen itself. Before I ever turned electricity on to your water heater, I made sure I had continuous water flow, as you can see right here, coming out of both hot water faucets. You always make sure you have continuous water flow before you ever plug the water heater in. It will damage it. +120 degrees and still getting hot. Again, back to the water heater. It plugs in. It's hard to see in this video. Water heater's there. There's a plug right behind it. You can simply plug in too. Definitely for winterization purposes, do make sure that you unplug the water heater and then winterize, so that you do not take a chance on burning up the element. Got your sandwich prep here, 38 degrees. Right behind me is the fridge, which is next to the sandwich prep at 36. Again, the paperwork and contents for all of the equipment is located in here, especially for the cooking equipment. So we have the stove, the steam table, poker for the crumbs for the deep fryer itself, legs for the stove, legs and paperwork and drain tube for the deep fryer, and then all of the refrigerator paperwork. Do take the time to read over that paperwork for proper cleaning and maintenance. It's definitely important for longevity for your equipment and safety as well. Again, just showing that plug. Got your upper shelf here. I believe there is another plug that's accessible, yes, behind the stove. Let's see, there we go. Go ahead and go out to the porch area. Again, trying to get a whole glimpse so you can be able to see the whole trailer in this video and go over all the proper items. Go ahead and show this plug working on the driver's side rear corner. Then we're going to go to the passenger side rear corner. We'll go ahead and make our way to the side of the trailer, to the restroom as well. So we've got your waste drain valve for the kitchen itself. 3-inch RV waste hose. Once that hose is hooked up and you're in an approved area for dumping the contents, this valve pulls back and water flows out like so. Once that tank is empty, remove the hose and replace the cap back on fitting itself. It's going to be the same situation for your restroom waste valve also. Again, back to the city water. We're on the city water side. This on the driver's side is your city water box for the kitchen itself. So bypassing the tank. So this is tank and pump, non-pressure side, pressurized side. Food grade water hose only on the pressurized side per your health department. If you want to run any sanitizer or bleach, you do so through this port here in the tank itself to be able to clean it and sanitize it. You've got your toilet, foot flush toilet. As you can see, I have water content about that level, just enough to be able to show this process in the video. Again, you can see the orange light for the water heater. Before I ever plug that water heater into the wall outlet, continuous water flow out of the hot water side faucet and then plug it in. Got your blowout valve for winterization. Once this video is complete, I will re-winterize the trailer due to the unknown climate conditions here in Tennessee. Water pump switch is on. $118 is still getting hot. I'm able to go ahead and show the outlet above. Also, we've got your LED light here, your power roof vent. Those are here on as soon as you walk in the door. This is right hand side, interior and exterior, or interior light, and then exhaust fan. So we've got your 100 amp panel, all 20 amp independent circuits. We've got your battery charger, and then we have your fuse panel for the 12-volt lighting system and water pumps. Right behind the bathroom door, or the door in the restroom, is the battery for the 12-volt system. Cable hatch for the power cord to roll down through the floor. And again, you can see it tucked in here. Once ready, lift that up and be able to pull that cord back up in place. As far as shutdown procedures, first and foremost, we would want to turn the water off if running the city water side itself, disconnecting the hose and locking the door back up. Again, disconnecting those wastewater hoses, being able to shut those valves and put the caps back in place. Always want to make sure lug nuts are adequately tight and adequate air pressure in the tires. Also, once a year, you're going to want to remove these rubber grommets to apply grease to the wheel bearings. Again, once a year. If you want to do twice a year, you're more than welcome to do so. If you do not have a grease gun, you can take it to a local trailer shop and have them do it, and then be able to inspect the brakes as well. As always noted, definitely rid the contents out of the fryer system itself. Do not leave oil in there. There is no lid that will keep the oil in place. There is NSF approved containers for about $100 that will be able to hold hot oil. Highly recommend buying those to be able to keep the contents for safe travel. Again, do not put water directly in these wells. Make sure you have pans for water and then your pans for your food. Always make sure that you turn everything in the off position before leaving. As far as your roof vent, definitely want to make sure it is closed. If you choose to add an AC unit in the future, or simply remove the 4 screws to the internal part, remove all the screws to the external part, remove the roof vent, and have an AC unit installed and wired up. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to do. Here right beside the fridge, you definitely want to make sure that you turn all of those light switches off so that it does not drain the battery. Definitely want to shut those doors and have them locked up. Again, gas always needs to be in the off position, as well as the hood system at the end of the day. We always recommend having pins in the removable lower rear wall and the doors being shut down, and pins of the same style or locks for all of the flip up doors. We also recommend always making sure that those tail lights, blinkers, and brake lights are always adequately working. And then disconnecting your power source at the very end, as well as pulling down and latching and locking the flip up door. We thank you for taking the time to view this video. We make these videos to be able to help customers see the brand new concession, as well as if they've never operated the equipment, to be able to give them a better understanding for safety purposes. If you do have any questions or concerns, if we can be of any assistance at all with your concession needs, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We thank you so much for your business and wish you the very best.